Hello, this is Sean for TightPoker.com. We are back. It's great to be back. We know that I know I've received quite a few emails and messages here on YouTube and on PokerTube asking for more videos, and so we're back. We're very excited, and we're going to be having some more updates throughout the rest of the year, and hopefully well into 2010. We've got a hand history review session at 5 no limit for TriggaLos. These are about the lowest stakes you can be playing. But this is a great place to where, maybe you want a free roll or something and you want to just build up that bankroll. So, we all start at stakes like this, and it'll be real interesting and fun to see. But I will be promising you, I know some people wanted to see some of my own hands, and we'll get into some maybe 100 no limit play next week. So let's just go right in. And so Trigga's got kings mid position, so obviously he's making a raise, and I've always advocated at these micro stakes at like 25 no limit and below to always raise 4 times the big blind. And so we get a call out of the big blind, who we don't really have any reads on. We get a check, and there's 42 cents in the pot, and I wouldn't really classify that as a super wet flop, but it's definitely one. I mean, we're always c-betting this flop, but at the same time, I've been told and been trying to learn even better ways of, bet sizing here. So the wetter the flop, the more you got to bet it. So that's exactly what you were thinking. So great job. And so he min raises you here, and so given his stack, you're getting it in, and that's 100% of the time, especially at these stakes. I just you see such random things happen. You're not going to see a super solid player too often, and you recognize that situation, and he calls, and he shows up with 2 pairs. So a bit of a cooler here, unfortunately, but I would have made the same move, and you still have outs, and you hit one of them, fortunately enough for you. So a bit of a, I guess, heater from the depths of a cooler, but as played, I think it's just fine. All right, we got fours. Guy limps, and you limp. In full ring, I mean, at these stakes, it's not something that you want to always do, like when you get to the 100 no limit games or even 200 no limit games especially. You're going to want to be isolated raising, which isn't too bad, but I find at these stakes, if you're making isolation raises against people that just absolutely never fold, then it's probably not the best play you could be making. So just limping in, hoping to just hit here, I think, honestly, for 5 no limit's fine. So you hit bottom set, which is good news. Someone bets, and you call behind, and I actually probably would have done the same thing, given that someone else has probably hit their ace and gonna make a raise, and that's when you can just get it in against them. And that's what we see. And you do that. So you call raise. This is also something, if you see somebody do this, you're gonna know it's more often than not the nuts. So this guy shoves all in. This guy folds. You call, very standard, and he shows top 2 pair. And he draws out on you, unfortunately. Let's see. Yeah, it's a bit of a suck out, to say the least. So you did everything right. Welcome to poker. It is going to make you really rethink this whole poker thing over and over again whenever you see hands like this. It's just, I know how frustrating it is. We've all been there, and this hand just flat out sucks. But the good news is that we all deal with it. And we understand your pain. So it's just time to move on. You got to put it out of your head and not let it affect you in the play later on. All right, Jack's early position. Good raise. We're c-betting. Good size. He raises against you, which is pretty weird, because what's he making a raise there with? It's just so dubious. I mean, 2-6-2 flop. I mean, unless a 2 would do that, so any 2 hand. Would a 6 hand do that? No. Maybe an overpair, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s. And if he's really bad, pocket pairs that actually had you beat pre-flop would do that. So you go ahead and flat, and then you hit your gin card here. So all the thinking has been done for you at this point. I was just thinking the merits of re-raising on that flop, because I think a lot of the times here, he's going to have 7s, 8s, 9s, or 10s. And that's my read at this point. And he's getting it in. So I would have made a raise, now that I think about it. easy for me to say now that I've already seen the turns of Jack, but I was already leaning that way. So you go ahead and check, and you're going for the check raise here. Unfortunately, check's behind. King, there's some merits to just open shoving here, just to make it look like a weird bluff kind of thing, but I think at least a pot bet is appropriate. And you bet really, really thin here, which I think you got to think that he's calling a lot of the time. But if we go with our pre-flop read that he had 8s, 9s, or 10s, maybe that is an appropriate bet given that there's 2 overcards now on the board to him. So he goes ahead and makes the call. And what do you have? He had the 8s. So I think the lesson to be learned here is, I think actually the more I think about it, your river bet's okay if you had the same read I did. But I really think you missed an opportunity on the flop to kind of get it in more often than not. Really, really good. Okay, Jack King suited. And, okay, so we got one limper. We've got a guy who's a 17-17, only 43 hands. Maybe he had a lot more. I'm folding this just because I always hate playing out of position, especially if it's going to be against 2 people. In a marginal hand like this, maybe there's ace king, I'm 3-betting. Obviously, if it was queen king, I'd be right on the cusp of maybe folding, just given that I'm not quite sure what this guy's up to. But if we see him isolate raise a ton, there's actually a really good case to be 3-betting here. But I think you flat, which I'm not in love with, but let's just see how it turns out. You hit top pair, and this guy bets, and you go ahead and flat. So I think your plan here is to just kind of call all the streets, assuming no ace shows up. And that's what you do. Wow, I'm pretty good at this. You check, and he shoves. So this is the problem with the whole check call thing, is that you've actually committed yourself with top pair jack kicker at this point. So I think more often than not, he's not bluffing here with the river shove, like ever. And you've just got, I mean, you do have 2 pair with kings and deuces, but it's just kind of a bad feeling I got about this hand. It's just, what does he shove here with that you have beat? And I can't think of anything. Not a thing. So I think you make a call. And he shows pocket king. So a little bit of a cooler there, but you just really got to watch those river shoves at just about any stakes. They're just so rarely bluffs. And you really need a specific read to kind of make that kind of play. But it would have been a real tough laydown on the river, but I think the right move. Big blind queens got a min raise out of a 44-14 super fish there. And so hopefully you're 3-betting. You do. Not a huge fan of the size there. I think I would have made it like 45. But he calls. And so way ahead, way behind. So you check. That's the right move. And so that's a great card for you, actually. You've got the flush draw, you've got the straight draw, and you have second pair. So I think you can really safely start betting here for value, and you check, which I really, really don't like. I'm assuming you're going to be check raising here. Nope, you check called, and I'm not quite sure why. Maybe you're scared he had the king, but even so, you've got, if he doesn't, you're crushing him, and if he does, you still have plenty of room at the end, which unfortunately you miss off. So I think check calling the river is actually pretty good, but yeah, he shows error. So good thing you didn't hit that flush, I guess. But yeah, I mean, pre-flop play was good, maybe a little bit more on the raise there, and then flop play was spot on, and then turn, some room for debate, but as played, not terrible. I think it was fine. All right, we got Jack King off again in the big blind. Is this some sort of trouble hand for you, man? So you go ahead and check. You hit top pair. This is going to be the same story. It's so funny. You go ahead and bet into it, which I think is fine, and it's the limp pot. He min raises you, which is really weird. So you check call this. Okay. And then I think you might just want to check call or check fold, or bet fold. Yeah, I think it's a good time to bet fold here, even though it's not much, is it? it's kind of hard relative to the stakes, but on the pot